In a park in Guangzhou, a two-seat aircraft lifts straight up off the ground, hovers for a second, then flies off over the skyline, carrying two paying passengers. No pilot on board, no pilot anywhere. Just 16 propellers, a battery pack, and a flight computer following a preset route through the sky. This isn't a concept video. This isn't a prototype that only flies in a lab. This is a real ticketed flight that people can book today in China, right now. This is the story of how a Chinese company got there first, years ahead of every flying car promise the rest of the world has been making since the 2010s, and what it took to convince regulators to actually let a pilotless aircraft carry human passengers through city airspace. The aircraft is called the EH216S, built by a company called EHang, based in Guangzhou. EHang was founded back in 2014, and for years it looked like just another drone startup chasing a flashy idea. Its first public demonstration of a passenger-carrying drone happened in 2018, when a Dutch prince flew in one of its early prototypes at a stadium event in Amsterdam, more of a stunt than a real transportation system.
But underneath the demos, EHang kept quietly grinding through years of flight testing. And the aircraft it eventually built is a strange-looking thing by aviation standards. A two-person cabin sitting at the center of 8 arms, with 16 separate propellers and 16 separate electric motors. 2 motors per arm, stacked one above the other. There's no single point of failure. If one motor stops working mid-flight, the aircraft is designed to keep flying safely on the rest.
It takes off and lands completely vertically, like a helicopter, which means it doesn't need a runway, just a small landing pad. It has a maximum takeoff weight of around 620 kilograms, a top speed of about 130 kilometers per hour, and a flight range of roughly 30 kilometers on a single charge, which takes about an hour to complete. It's not built for long-distance travel, it's built for short hops, sightseeing routes, park-to-park flights, and eventually short trips across a city.
And there's no cockpit, no steering wheel, no joystick, no pilot seat. Passengers sit down, the aircraft flies a pre-programmed route using GPS and its own navigation system, and it lands itself at the destination. The only human involvement is a ground control team monitoring the flight remotely, similar to how an air traffic controller watches a commercial flight, except here, nobody is physically flying the aircraft at all. Building a small electric aircraft that can hover and fly isn't actually the biggest challenge anymore. Plenty of companies around the world have built eVTOL prototypes that can do that. The far bigger challenge is convincing a national aviation regulator that it's safe enough to fly real passengers through real airspace with zero human pilot on board.
I'm the first person to drive a flying car! It was safe! Yeah! It was safe!
For comparison, most Western flying taxi companies, names like Joby, Archer, and Volocopter, have built aircraft that still keep a human pilot in the cockpit, at least for their first phase of commercial service. Their aircraft are designed for pilots, then later adapted toward full autonomy. EHang skipped that step entirely and went straight for a pilotless design from day one, which meant it had to prove something no aviation regulator anywhere in the world had ever approved before. That approval process took years. China's aviation regulator, the Civil Aviation Administration of China, or CAAC, began formally reviewing the EH216S back in January 2021. Getting a brand new category of aircraft, an autonomous, pilotless, passenger-carrying eVTOL, through a full safety review isn't like approving a new drone model. It means testing structural strength, electrical redundancy, flight software reliability, emergency landing behavior, and a long list of edge cases that regular aircraft certification never had to consider, because regular aircraft always assumed there was a pilot ready to take over if something went wrong. By October 2023, after more than 1,000 days of testing and review, the CAAC issued the EH216S a type certificate, official confirmation that its design met national airworthiness standards. It was the world's first type certificate ever issued for a pilotless, passenger-carrying eVTOL aircraft. That was only the first of several approvals it needed. Getting an aircraft design approved is different from being cleared to actually build and fly it commercially. Over the following 2 years, EHang worked through the rest of the regulatory checklist, one certificate at a time. In December 2023, the EH216S received a standard airworthiness certificate, confirmation that an individual, physically built aircraft, not just the design on paper, met the required safety standards. That same month, EHang delivered its first certified aircraft to a customer in Guangzhou, marking the start of actual commercial handovers. Next came a production certificate, confirming that EHang's manufacturing process itself, not just a single hand-built prototype, could reliably produce aircraft that met the same safety standard every time, at scale. The final piece came in early 2025, an Air Operator Certificate, or AOC. This one isn't about the aircraft at all. It's about the company operating it. It confirms that the operator has the training, procedures, and safety systems in place to actually run commercial flights, day after day, safely. In March 2025, the CAAC issued air operator certificates to EHang's operating units in Guangzhou and in Hefei, a city in Anhui province. With that fourth certificate, EHang became the first eVTOL company anywhere in the world to hold the complete set: a type certificate, a standard airworthiness certificate, a production certificate, and an air operator certificate, the full regulatory stack needed to legally sell tickets to the public for pilotless passenger flights. No company in the United States, Europe, or anywhere else had cleared that entire stack yet. So what does an actual flight look like right now? In Guangzhou, ticketed passengers can book a sightseeing flight over Julong Lake Park. In Hefei, flights run over Logong Central Park. Passengers check in, get a short safety briefing, step into the two-seat cabin, and the aircraft lifts off on a preset loop, usually lasting somewhere around 20 to 25 minutes round trip, before landing back at the same pad. By the time EHang crossed its full certification milestone, the company reported it had already completed more than 50,000 flights across its testing and early commercial operations, a number that includes both demonstration flights and paying customers in China and in international trial locations. EHang has also flown demonstration passenger flights in Indonesia, Thailand, Spain, and Rwanda, and completed a longer point-to-point test flight in China, crossing a strait of open water between Hainan and Guangdong provinces, a very different challenge from a short loop over a park, since it means longer distances with no emergency landing spot along most of the route. For global markets outside China, EHang is listed a suggested retail price of around $410,000 per aircraft. Inside China, the domestic price has been closer to roughly $330,000. That's expensive for a single vehicle, but genuinely cheap compared to a helicopter with similar passenger capacity, and far cheaper than the years of pilot training and licensing a helicopter requires to keep flying. This isn't just one company's success story. It's tied directly to a much bigger economic plan. China's current 5-year economic plan, covering 2026 through 2030, officially names the low-altitude economy as a strategic emerging industry, a formal government category that comes with real financial backing behind it. That single label matters a lot in China's system because it tells provincial and city governments that the central government wants investment and infrastructure to flow toward this sector specifically. And local governments have already started acting on it. In Hefei, the city government has reportedly committed to purchasing at least 100 EH216 series aircraft, or providing financing support worth up to $100 million to help build out the low-altitude flight infrastructure needed for regular commercial service. More than 10 other Chinese cities have made similar infrastructure commitments, tied to milestones in this same low-altitude economy push. The logic behind it is straightforward. China already dominates electric vehicle manufacturing and battery production. A pilotless electric aircraft industry uses a lot of the same underlying technology: electric motors, battery management systems, autonomous navigation software, just applied to something that flies instead of something that drives. If China can build the same kind of manufacturing and supply chain advantage in the sky that it already built on the road, that's a genuinely new export industry, not just a novelty. It's worth being honest about the limits here, because it's easy to let a video like this run away with the hype. A 30-kilometer range and a roughly 25-minute flight time isn't a commuter product yet. This is not, right now, a replacement for driving across a city during rush hour. Today, this is closer to a premium sightseeing experience, a short scenic flight over a park priced and marketed more like a helicopter tour than daily public transit. The current operations are also happening at designated controlled sites, specific parks, and pre-approved flight corridors, not open point-to-point flight across an entire city yet. Scaling from flights inside a park with a fixed loop to on-demand point-to-point flights across an entire dense city is a much harder problem, involving air traffic management for potentially thousands of small aircraft sharing low-altitude airspace with buildings, drones, and each other. And safety data at true commercial scale is still limited. 50,000 flights is a meaningful number, but it's still small next to the billions of flight hours commercial airlines have logged over the decades that built public trust in aviation safety. Long-term reliability and how these aircraft perform in bad weather, high winds, or genuine mechanical emergencies at scale is still being proven in real time, not just in a lab. Western competitors like Joby, Archer, and Volocopter argue their approach, keeping a human pilot in the loop for the first phase of commercial service, is the more cautious and arguably safer path toward full autonomy later. China's regulators clearly made a different bet, skip straight to pilotless certification and let real-world commercial flights become the proving ground. Whichever approach turns out to be right, one fact is hard to argue with. China is the first country on Earth where a member of the public can walk up, buy a ticket, and fly in a certified pilotless passenger-carrying aircraft today. Not in a demo reel, not in a coming soon announcement, but as an actual bookable flight. The range is short. The routes are limited. The industry is still in its very early stages. But the regulatory wall that every flying car company in the world has been stuck behind for over a decade, the wall that says a machine isn't allowed to fly a paying passenger without a human pilot on board, has already been broken. Once, in Guangzhou, China. Whether the rest of the world follows that same pilotless path or waits longer for a human-piloted version to prove itself first, the starting gun on this industry has already been fired. And for now, China is the only one who has actually crossed the line. If a story like this surprised you, China has a lot more of these hiding in plain sight. Technology most people outside the country haven't even heard of yet. Hit subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And let us know in the comments, would you actually get in a flying taxi with no pilot on board? Drop your answer below. We read every one of them.